So I wanted to show a few intermediate exercises that you can do with the cardio tramp, but before I do that, I can comment on the build quality and then the way it compares to a jump board, just really briefly. So this is the Merrithew Cardio Tramp. I do not have any affiliation with Merrithew, it's just the Reformer that I happen to have. It's the one I was trained on. I do find that the cardio tramp is used less frequently in the rehab population for a couple of reasons. Number one, you don't have the firm feedback from the cardio tramp or the trampoline surface in the middle. It's also a little bit of a lower height for a hand grip when you have it placed into the Reformer. And lastly, the size of the tubing here just isn't as big, nor is it easy to hold in the middle if you're doing anything that requires hand support. And this is of course in comparison to the jump board with the crossbow attachment. If you are going to get a cardio tramp, make sure that you're getting the correct size. For the 16-inch and the 19-inch or the 20-inch rehab Reformer, you're going to want to get the 24-inch wide one, which is what I have here. And if you have the one that's low to the floor, make sure you're getting the 22-inch. I do find the build quality overall very good. I've never had any concerns about it warping or giving way. The fit is quite snug into the receptacles in the platform, and then the welds look like they're really well done. Okay, so when we put it in, we're just going to make sure that the cardio tramp words are facing the carriage. Make sure that it's slotted all the way down, it can't go any further, and then tighten the knobs to make sure that it's all the way in. Okay, so 3 intermediate exercises that you can do with your clients. The first one is swim prep or bird dog jump. I have 1 heavy spring, the foot bar is all the way down, of course. Gear bar is all the way in, stopper is all the way in. Hands can be here on the sides, or if you'd like, up onto the shoulder rests if you want a little bit less load into the shoulder girdle. We're going to reach 1 foot back onto the trampoline or the cardio tramp and just jump from here. So a really nice way to work on knee control, foot control, right? So you can sort of see, you can kind of drift from side to side, you can come way out or come way in. Really depends on what you're working on. The other thing I would say in this position is you're getting quite a bit of core, especially if you are working in a heavier weight, because the amount of pressure, axial pressure, through the jumping leg does place a little bit of strain through the contralateral trunk, right? So all of that work to maintain that rectangular frame can be a little bit more apparent the higher spring weight you're using. So if we want to continue in that same vein of single leg jumping, we're going to go onto your side. Down here, we're going to keep that spring weight at about a 1. So bottom leg is bent up, spine is somewhat in neutral, bringing that foot up onto the trampoline. We can jump from here. And I like to have my hand resting on the shoulder rest for a little bit of support. But if you want to make it more challenging, you can take that hand, you can reach it up towards the ceiling so that they're not able to rest their trunk quite as much into the shoulder rest. From here, you can also add some variety into the leg position. If you want to add some external rotation, you can do that as well. So pressing away and moving into external rotation to get a little bit of glute med, which can be really, really nice. So lastly, we're going to go into jumping in a prone position with the long box. Sorry, I realize this is kind of noisy. Get rid of that. We're going to grab the long box here and put this onto the carriage in that nice centered position. Change the spring weight, maybe a medium spring or 1 medium and 1 light. Really depends on what you're after, but we're going to go into a prone position. 2 hands on the corners, lower the chest down, bring the legs on top, and then from here, we're sort of doing this overhead press, all right? So I've got a medium spring, which is fairly light, but what's really nice is it gives me time to organize my shoulder blades, to organize my trunk in between. So as you can imagine, the heavier the weight, the faster the carriage is going to come back in and the more eccentric work your client is going to have. So from here, we're going to make sure that the body stays nice and long, and we're not going to be starting to droop down as the repetitions increase. So just a few options there with the cardio tramp. Truly, you can do that in prone, you can do that in sitting. There are a few ways you can play with it, but overall I would say that the cardio tramp is just a really fun way to add some variety to your repertoire, and maybe a little bit less rehab than the jump board. But otherwise I would still definitely recommend that piece of equipment.